Well, it's wood burner season. Got up this morning and took my dogs for a walk, and I had to wear gloves because it was that cold. Certainly time to start getting the old wood fires lit. And I've often prided myself on how clean I keep my chimney, and the reason why it's kept quite clean is because I burn only very dry seasoned wood. But this could be, I could be teaching myself something here, because I don't really know how dry my wood is. I only guessed, and it felt dry, it sounded dry when you clumped the two pieces of wood together, and it burnt with very little smoke. And I got very little deposits in my chimney. And I've been burning wood now for getting on to 20 years using wood burner stoves, and I've often heard it bounded around that you want to be looking for wood sort of 20% moisture content or better, and I thought 20% was quite damp really, but anyway, that is the figure they say. You want 20% moisture or less. This isn't a lecture about what happens if you burn wood which is too wet. I mean, there's plenty of videos online about why you should season firewood, but this isn't about that. I'll just quickly say that if you burn wet wood, you don't get the heat output, you cause a lot of smoke and a lot of pollution, and you get deposits and tar and creosote build up in your chimney, so you don't want that. But anyway, I went shopping earlier today in our local Aldi supermarket, and in their centre aisle they had this work zone moisture meter. So I don't really know how dry my wood is, so I thought, right, we'll do some tests. I thought I'd buy it. It's only £7 or £8. It wasn't a lot of money. I thought, well, I'll buy it and I'll just test my wood. So first of all, we go out into the garden. Well, let's first of all just open the packet, because I've not even opened it, as you can see. So there is, right, what else we got? We've got a set of batteries. There's the moisture meter, and there are the instructions. So it's not exactly rocket science on how to use these things, I believe, but I will quickly just read through the instructions so I've got an idea how to use the moisture meter. Then we'll go out and measure some wood. Let's just install the batteries. Right, that's straightforward enough. Insert your batteries into the correct polarity, put that back on again, tighten it down. So just reading through the instructions, it says it will measure concrete, wood, plaster, mortar, lime mortar and brick. So all the building materials really. As far as measurement of wood goes, it has a measurement range from 10% to 44%. So we should be able to effectively measure our dryness of wood for wood burning. That's about it really. Just learn how to drive it. It's on and set. I'm not sure what that means. So by pushing the set button, you cycle through the menu what it wants to read. So we got the first one is wood, the second press is concrete, the third is plaster, the fourth is cement mortar, the fifth is lime mortar, and the last one is brick. So I clicked it back to wood again, and then it's a matter of inserting these two sharp prongs into the wood, but there's a specific way you've got to do it to get an accurate reading. So for safety's sake, for those that are concerned that I might prick myself, we'll put the guard back on again. So we can't be hurt by the nasty prongs. This is some of the wood that I would consider this to be dry enough to burn, but before I actually burn this, I actually take the wood I'm going to burn. I take 2 or 3 days supply of wood, and I stack them in the area close to the wood burner indoors, so they get 2 or 3 days of dry heat next to the wood burner before I actually burn it. So that's what I do. But anyway, this is seasoned, probably a piece of ash there, I think. Various other types of wood, a bit of cherry. As far as I'm aware, this is over 2 years seasoned, so we'll take that as a piece to test, and I'm going to split it in half and test on the inside. Also, as a basis point, I bought myself some kiln dried wood from the local Aldi. I'm going to be splitting that and measuring that as well, comparing it. I've got another store of wood to my right, which is 2-year-old cherry wood, no, plum, sorry, and that's stored waiting to be taken in and burnt over the winter period. I've got some more seasoned wood coming from a friend of mine, Rich, who's a farmer in Hereford, so that's a video for the future. But I'll tell you about the gum tree that I cut down, the eucalyptus tree that I cut down. That's where the big old tree once was. It stood there a few weeks ago, and then it was cut down. It was getting too big. I would have left. It was a lovely tree, but it was putting roots throughout the garden and in under the patio, and it had blocked up one of my drains. And it was just the wrong tree in the wrong place, and it had to come down. So I cut it down. And for weeks I had the trunks in the garden there, and then I finally got round to cutting them up with a chainsaw. Not long ago, and being eucalyptus, it's very hard to split. You've got to split it whilst it's green. So that's all been split up now, and I put it in the greenhouse. I had nowhere to put it. I know really it wants to be stacked where there's a good airflow, but I had nowhere available right at the moment, so I cut it and split it and put it into the greenhouse, and that's where it will stay for the next few weeks until I can get a decent woodshed. That's a strong sun now. Yeah, I can get a good woodshed built, and then I can stack it in there. I'll show you that pile of wood now. This is it. A pile of wood from the gum tree. I'm not sure how much I got. I would estimate somewhere in the order of maybe 1.5 ton, maybe 1.5 tons, I'd say, maybe 2 tons at the most. And it was very wet, very wet. It's been in here just a few days, and it already feels quite dry on the outside. So I think we'll take a piece and we'll cut that up with the axe. We'll chop it in half and measure the inside moisture content. Well, here are my pieces of wood. I've got the green piece of eucalyptus from the greenhouse. This was living a tree about 2 months ago. A piece of ash from my outdoor wood pile. The datum piece, if you like, the kiln dried wood from the shop. And then a piece of wood from inside the house, where I store it for a day or two before I burn it, next to the wood burner. And that's one of the sounds you want to hear when you bang two pieces of seasoned wood together. So I'm going to split the wood down. First of all, we'll do the piece of unseasoned wood, split it and take a measurement in the middle. Please forgive the ambient noises in the background. There's a busy road not far away. So there we are, there's our fresh cut. That's our fresh cut. So I'm going to measure the inside here, turn it on, cycle it through till it says wood, and then jam it in. And that's measuring 28% moisture content on that side there. Yeah, 28.6 moisture content. The bottom figure is the temperature, so you can see it there again. Hopefully you can see that. It varies, but it's 27%, so I'd say that's quite dry for a green piece of wood, but anyway, it's still too wet to burn. Let's move on to the next ones. The next piece of wood is going to be this piece of seasoned ash. So there we are, let's measure that. It's actually just starting to rain, so anyway, let's measure that, see what we got. Oh, it's turned itself off. We don't want it to rain. That's 16.4%. That's quite good. We don't want it to rain. We'll have to work a bit quick. Working quick, we go on to the seasoned wood from the shop. Kiln dried wood. We'll measure this. The kiln dried wood, 13%, 14%. So that's the driest piece so far. Lastly, the piece of wood from inside the house. Let's measure that. Now that surprised me, because that's still quite damp. Right, I've learned something. That's over 20, that's 22%. So yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't think that would be that damp, to be honest with you. It may just be that particular piece of wood. I wonder if it's just because it's got wet, it's got rain on it. No, it's the same there. Today I've learned something today. I thought, because it feels quite light, in fact it's quite punky, and it makes that nice sound, and I would have thought that was dry enough to burn, but evidently, according to my moisture meter, it isn't. But I've got to say that this wood was lying outside until a few days ago. It was dead, lying on the ground, and I cut it up and stacked it next to the wood burner, and thought, because it felt light and it felt dry, I thought it was okay, but evidently it isn't. Wants to come and see me. Come on then. I just answered. Yeah, I know what you want. I'm just going to do another little quick test, because I'm out the way then, before you get your legs chopped off. I'm going to split this wood because I still reckon we might be getting an erroneous reading because of the rain outside. Carmen's there. I'm not going to do it in here. I'm going to go outside and split it, and then I'll come back in. Right, I've just split it. Let's just take a measurement of this again. Let's see what we got. Yes, it's measuring about 12%. 12%, I don't know if you can see that. So that's wood that's been stored next to my wood burning stove for 3 days, and it measures 12%. That's probably been dead for quite a number of years, and it laid on the ground for a good part of that time as well, and then split and brought indoors and stored next to the wood burner for 3 days. And it's measuring around about sort of 12 to 15%, so well below the 20% threshold. Well, what we've got to do now, because Mandy's complaining, she says she feels cold, so she wants me to light the wood stove. Well, out of the way then. There we are. So Mandy is, hello Zita. Zita wants to go for a walkie, don't you? We go for a walk. Let's get the fire lit for Mum first. She says she's cold. Right. All you need is a few pieces of paper. And then what I also find is very good for lighting fires is pieces of cardboard rolled up like that. And you actually get the heat and the flame goes up through the cardboard. Good girl. And then you can really get the fire established quick. So a few pieces of kindling as well. I mean, there are several ways of getting a fire going. Some people like to do the top down fire. Because I'm just quickly going to get going, I've got to get out for a dog walk. I'm just going to quickly light the fire up for Mandy, just do it in a conventional fire lay. And that's about all we're going to do really. So I often start with a piece of wood in the back, just like that.
Empty out the ash, I think.
A couple of pieces of wood. Just like that. Make it form a fire bed if you like. I'll bring you in for a closer look. This is a multi-fuel stove. It's a good idea when burning wood. Wait, Carmen. Wait, go on, out of the way. Dog in the way. It's a good idea sometimes to let the ash build up. So I'll just put that in there like that. Just get a piece lit. It's often also a good idea to get a good roaring fire going initially, because that heats the flue up, heats the chimney up, and gets things going quick. Put that on there, pile it all in. And I'm going to close the door and open the bottom. That gets a good draft going, and it'll soon start to roar. You can actually hear it. Come out of the way. Come on. You can hear it beginning to roar now. So let's let that establish for a little bit.
Yeah.
all the time that heat is going up. It's going up into the chimney. It's warming the flue. We've got a conventional chimney, but next year I am having a liner fitted. Chimney at the moment is still very good. On top of my stove I've got this this thermometer, magnetic thermometer. At the moment it's cold, as you can see, and I'm able to touch the stove. But you want to operate it in the green range, and generally it sort of hovers around about sort of 2 to 250 degrees C, it's thereabouts. We also have this this heat operated fan, and it's ingenious how it works. It works on the heat difference between the bottom plate and the top section here, and in between there's a module which generates electricity from the heat difference, and there's a little motor in there which powers the fan, so there's no battery. As the stove warms up, the fan will start to turn. So you can see in next to no time we've had a really good fire already quite established. The dog trying to get in the way. Oh, you are a menace when it comes to filming. Come on, come out the way. Let the people see. Let them see. Already getting a fair amount of radiant heat through the glass. The stove's still cold at this point. There's a good amount of heat rushing up the chimney, warming the chimney up now. I can whack on a couple of these logs. I'll leave it open just for a minute or two longer to let them logs catch, and then I'll shut the main primary air down. It's quite roaring now, so I can open up the air wash. That allows air to be drawn in, and it keeps the glass relatively clean. I'm going to now close the primaries up, and the stove top is now beginning to get warm. It's quite hot at the back there, but it hasn't got quite to this point here where the fan is. And as the heat comes across towards here, you'll see the fan start to kick in. Already Carmen's adopted her favourite place when the wood burner's on. She does like to sit in front of the fire and get the warmth. We're starting to get some warmth on the front here now. Generally it wants to get to around about 50 degrees C. At that point,
Oh, there it is.
the fan will start. And the hotter it gets, the faster it spins. Believe me, these fans, they move enough air, they really are worth having. They're not expensive, only about 23, 24 pound, and they really push the air around, and you'd be surprised how that really warms the room up. I'm already quite warm just this close to the fire. With the fire warming up nicely, I can now afford to shut some of the air down. I generally operate the stove around about there. And that slows the flames down, makes them a bit lazy, and you get a good clean burn. You don't want them shut down too much, you want a little bit of life to the flames. And the flames have now gone nice and lazy. So the flame's nice and lazy. There'll be hardly any smoke produced. The fan's starting to spin a bit harder as well. As it gets hotter, it'll spin faster. And the thermometer on top of the stove is slowly starting to rise. We're not into the green yet, but over the course of the next sort of 15 minutes, it'll get up to operating temperature. But at this stage, I can afford to leave it now. It'll basically self-sustain. Anyone concerned about these fans doing you any harm, they're very low torque, so you can stop them quite easily and not hurt yourself. felt the stove needed a bit more air before I could leave it, so I opened up the air wash, and you can see it's got going again really hard, so I can now shut it down. Hopefully this time it will just maintain itself, and that's the stove lit for the evening.